Hi folks, my name is Eddie Pompa, your NDT hero. I am here today to show you how to walk through a few simple steps in operation of this Sonatest D-70. Alright folks, here today I'm going to walk you through a few simple steps on how to operate this Sonatest D-70. This instrument is kind of handy. It's got a few simple features to it. You have the option here on this window here on these buttons to either use up and down, left and right, or you can simply scroll through by touch. Okay, so with this instrument, you want to look at a few simple things. The menu button is kind of your return button, if you will, and a few hotkeys, your gate and your dB. Okay, so if we want to start first by going through the main menus here, and we'll come back and hit on these at the end. So for instance, we'll start off with cal. When you select cal, you'll have all these features available to you over here: your delay, your range, and velocity, and your probe zero. Okay, so if we select our range, our probe zero, for instance, we want to bring that to 0 at all times. That'll bring us our initial pulse on screen. You want to toggle down to velocity. You press this button once. You'll see many options here. You'll, in this case, we're going to select steel, and that'll be our starting point, right? So longitudinal. What's kind of handy about this instrument is it not only gives you the longitudinal values here, it also gives you the shear wave values. So you can cycle up and down through this and select whichever material that you want to use and the velocity that you're going to operate at. Okay. Like I said, with your range, you can either just press it once and show you these quick keys and go from there. You can hold it down and allow you to select the ranges and adjustments this way, right? Okay. Like I said, so now you've got that your cal window. You can cycle over to the left, to the right, and look at your amp settings. In this case, where the Olympus allows you to select mode, in this case you have TX mode. Here you select this. You have the option for single, double, which is your dual mode, and TX-RX is your through transmission. For the purpose of this class and this start, we're going to always stay with single. Okay. Detection. What we're looking at here is whether or not we want full wave, rectified, plus half, minus half, or RF signal. You really can't see much difference when you select these two at this moment, but RF allows you to see the full unrectified signal. We always want to start at full. You have the option to select frequencies. You have various choices here, and you typically can go with either a wide range or in this case 3 to 8 megahertz works really well. Okay, select over to TX. Now you have a few features here. We typically don't kind of go in here and make any adjustments to these. At least at this point, we're not going to do that. But just to let you know, that's where we're at here from an amperage and pulse width features that are available to you. In your gate 1, you'll have your ability to adjust your start, your width, and your level. You can easily get to that by pressing the gate button at any time when you're in the other windows. Okay. We're not going to go into AutoCal at this moment, so we're going to return. Okay, we're going to hit menu, bring us back to the main screen. Now we're going to select measure. Okay, so if we start back at the left, measure. Okay, we're going to select the measurement mode. In this case, it's going to be depth because we're working with longitudinal beam. If you're working with the shear wave, you'd select trig or any of the other features for gate 1 to gate 2 comparisons and so forth. Okay, trigger, we want to be in peak. You can select flank, but we're going to stay in peak for the moment. This feature is quite nice, right? Heads up display. Okay, you can either have it off, or in this case, it's going to give you the sound path or depth. When you're working with the longitudinal wave, this arrow indicates depth. And we're not going to mess with height. We don't want to see the height of the signal. We just want to see the depth of the measurement. If we turn this off, now that's what you're seeing, right? So it's very handy to keep the heads-up display on a depth mode. Okay. Next thing is, of course, trig. We want to keep our thickness close to 0 as we can. In this case, that's as far as it goes in this instrument. The surface is flat. You have a choice to pick concave or convex. And the half skip is something we'll use for shear wave. Okay, so your probe is selections here are either to set your X offset or your auto 0, and make sure that our angle is set to 0, again for straight beam. We're not really going to worry or mess with the sizing or the compensation at this point. So that basically concludes the initial setup of this instrument. And just to give you a heads up on these hotkeys, like I said, you can go to gate, it brings you right back to the gate window, dBs, brings you down to your dB settings down here. What you do want to keep in mind is you have a step value, which is right now 1.0. If you press dB again, it gives you your reference dB, which is what you're going to talk about later when we set our sensitivity. But by hitting it one more time, we're going to toggle down to this, right? So like I said, you can scroll through this as a touch wheel and rotate through it, or you can simply press the buttons up and down. What this is your step value. If you set this thing to say 10 dB or 20 dB or 14 dB, this is going to change from 30 to 44 dB. That's just too coarse, right? So we want to stay around 1, maybe half a dB, somewhere in there. So now, as we select dB, we can adjust, 1 dB at a time. And that's it, folks. That concludes the initial setup for this instrument. Thank you very much.